Welcome back to Latte Hour. Hope y'all are doing well today. So, jumping right in as usual, the topic is HOA corporate governance. So, if you live in an HOA or you've heard about an HOA, you know that they're basically homeowners associations that have a bunch of rules and ordinances that the residents in the neighborhood have to abide by. And these rules and ordinances are supposed to keep the neighborhood beautiful and support any amenities that the HOA has. So, normally an HOA can be good, and a lot of people like them because they don't want to live next to someone who has 10 cars that are being worked on in their front yard. But when HOAs run amok, they can really be a headache for the residents. And we've heard of some of those stories too, where there are HOA presidents that are going around demanding citizens do things that are above and beyond the ordinances. Also, we've heard about HOAs raising fees just to mess with certain residents, or raising fees just to use the money for whatever personal use or goals that they have. And so that's where the problem comes in. And it got me to thinking and looking more into what's going on with some of these HOAs. So there are some really, really large HOAs that are worth more than $100 million. I'll just say that. And these were some of the ones that I started to look into. This goes beyond the petty HOA presidents that are just raising fees on people, or beyond the petty HOA presidents that are funneling some of the money. This is corporate governance when we're at that point where the HOA is worth over $100 million. And so I'm wondering if people realize they live in an area of the city that is no longer controlled by elected representatives. And they also, I dare say, don't have any real representation, because some of those boards allow 2 or 3 resident members on them, but for the most part, the rest of the boards are corporate members. And so, do people not know this is going on? Are they unwittingly signing up for this? And then as I looked further into some of the meeting minutes that were happening in some of the board meetings, I come to find out that the cities that they're in are allowing these HOAs or corporate HOAs to take care of all of what the city would have done, and then the city will reimburse them. So basically, it's a maintenance agreement between the city and the corporate HOA. So the city's like, we're not going to do any parks and recs and utilities work over there. We're going to let y'all do that. We're going to let y'all govern everything over there the way you want to. And you just tell us how much you spent on the upkeep that you think we would have spent, and then we will reimburse you. And I think in transparency, the question really would come down to, what would the city really have spent? Because if the city was in control of it, would the city have spent less? So basically, the city is spending a lot of money on a maintenance agreement happening in a portion of the city where all residents don't live. So yes, some people are getting special treatment, right? The little corporate governance area of the city is getting special treatment on the backs of all of the city's residents that may not even live in that area. And then again, like I said before, residents that do live in that area are not being properly represented. They're under corporate governance. And so I wanted to know if you live in an HOA that is very, very large and has a maintenance agreement with the city. And if you don't know, I would encourage for the rest of the Latte Hour for you to look into it and find out. And eventually, I hope we get to the point where HOAs are not necessary and perhaps even outlawed, because every citizen should have representation, almost one-to-one representation. Another argument there, if we want to go all the way to the national level of why do we even need the electoral college, that's a whole nother argument for a whole another day. So that is what I wanted to discuss today. Hoping to hear you all's thoughts in the comments below. Try to keep a lot of personal information out of the comments, but of course love to hear your thoughts on the subject. And have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye now.